Okay, so in the next part we have chapter 3 and 4 of React tools. So this includes expanding components, which also features things as like the buttons, and then in chapter 4 we have it expanding to also feature this rating system, and then as well as the reactive rating system, and then the user will be able to click and edit this in the main file. So we have app products and JSX functions from the previous lesson. And then we have these regular buttons that we just imported from Bootstrap. So these two are just regular buttons imported directly from Bootstrap. And then we also have my own button components I created, which is this part. So I have a danger, success, and a default, and you can see that reflecting on the types as well. So that we're from these ones and onward. So the way I made this component is I simply took the bindings of this button, such as the variant and disabled, and I couple that to with the type, default, and text that will be received when using this component. So the text is default click me, disabled default is false, and type default is default. Moving on to the next section, we have our first rating system. So this rating system works very similarly to the button, where you have these rating components, and then they simply just correspond to whatever rating value you give it. So you can see we have this rating value that you will receive here. So it will be from 1 to 5. And then depending on what this rating is, it will determine which one to respond with. So is it going to be 5-star, 4-star, 3-star, 2-star? So to demonstrate this, we can make all of these 5-star ratings. And then when you go back to the site, you can see everything is a 5-star rating. And when you put it back from 1 to 5, when you go back to the site, you can see it goes from 1 to 5. The final component for the 4th chapter is this reactive rating. So it also takes in a default value, as you can see, from 1 to 5. We can, for instance, have these all be 1 for now. When you go back to the site, they all start off as 1. But you can click them and edit each one as you please. So when you look at the component for this one, we have the same inputs as the previous ones to get the stars. And then we have this reactive rating function, which will return the whole component. So the way it works is you have this the handle click, and it's going to determine where the player clicked, which value the player selected. And then it is going to set the rating to a new value, whichever the user selected. So if the user selected 3 stars, the value will be 3. If you selected 4 stars, the value will be 4. And then we have this simple div here that will just return each individual component. And they are set to a default of 5. However, this is reactive. So the moment these values start to change within the real program, the values will change here as well. So even though this one is set to 1 as default, you can see I can edit this as I please. So this concludes chapter 3 and 4 of React.